since we have a couple minutes. All right, well, I will move us on to the next thing then. Let me get back to my shared screen. So our next agenda item is our member spotlight. And as those of you who have been around for a little while know, this is something we started doing a little over a year ago to highlight our members who maybe don't have businesses that we can go and visit because they're either run out of their home, or as you'll find out, like with Megan, it's a consultancy, and so she's going to people more so than people are going to her physical space. Or Refill Goods, which Annie will share about. They're in Greater Minnesota, and while we'd love to visit all of our Greater Minnesota members, that sometimes it can be tricky to do that, and so we invite them to join us. And so we offer this time during our meetings for folks, instead of a tour that we might set up sometimes, as a way to showcase their work. So today we are going to start with Annie Jurrens from Refill Goods, which is in Plains, Minnesota. And Peter is not on yet, so I'm going to move him to third. I'm hoping he joins still. I just sent him an email, and then Megan Jurrens from Native Sustainability, I'll have her move up to second. But each of them will have about 10 minutes to share about what they do and whatever they'd like to tell us about their business. And then we'll have a little bit of time, like a minute or two, for questions if folks have questions, but feel free to put them in the chat as well. All right, Annie, I will pin you to the top.
All right.
You're set to go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Annie Jurrens. I live in Plainview, Minnesota. My husband and I used to live up in the cities for
Oops.
Annie, you muted yourself accidentally.
goodness. Thank you.
I did that. Thanks, Carolyn.
Sorry, my computer broke, my iPad broke. I'm down to just my phone now, and it's really messing me up. Anyways, we ended up in a small rural town, and we had small kids. We were doing foster care, and then we had a global pandemic there. So by 2022, I was ready to leave the house, but wasn't quite sure how to do that with three small kids. So we decided to just build something that we thought the community needed, and that it didn't have. So we started Refill Goods. The goal was an eco-friendly space where we could have refillable products. We thought food, we'd get into food eventually, but we knew we would need to we knew margins were small on food, and you need your food retail license, and we figured we'd just start and kind of figure it out. So an eco-friendly shop, we ended up consigning with local artists, and we really ended up being more than that, being a community space for people who didn't feel like they had a space in rural Minnesota. Which was really cool. But being in a small town, trying to find the right space to be in as our shop grew, we ended up moving 4 times in 3 years. It's still, the town is very small, so just within a few blocks of each other, but that takes time and energy. And I learned a lot about having a retail business in a small town. Like, I think small shops can't, or small towns, you can't just have a shop. You have to offer a service as well. It seems like if you're going to actually last, because there's not enough people just walking by to come in. So, anyways, and then tariffs came. That made it really hard to plan for things. Like which items we could get in. We were still trying to figure out which items our customers liked, which ones would actually sell in rural Minnesota, all those types of things. And that made it pretty hard. But we decided we had, in our vision, we wanted to move into secondhand items eventually. So we decided to move that direction. So we moved into a newer space. We started working off of a thrift model, but with an online auction element. So people could see, browse things on their phone, and items start at $5. But most of the items were just donated to the shop. So we were doing that plus kind of refills, plus books and community events and all sorts of things. It was interesting when we said, hey, we're treat us like a thrift store. Anything you would take to a thrift store, consider taking to us, and we'll donate some back to the community, and we'll have this space. And we actually got a lot of things, a lot of good things, cool things. Like there is a lot of stuff in the world already that people don't want. So that was surprising. And I was also surprised by how many people said, oh, thank you so much for taking this stuff. Whether it's somebody's mother-in-law passed away and they had her entire apartment. And they just have stuff and they didn't know what to do with it. And so I think it is a really good time to be getting into secondhand things in Minnesota, especially if we're not sure where we're getting stuff from or how. Secondhand, I think there's a lot. I mean, we got a bin once that was marked family silver. Like people are saving things for their kids and their kids don't want it. And that's just the world we're living in now. So, anyways, we had a ton of people saying thank you for the work that we were doing, even just being a space that they could drop off stuff. I think, especially in rural towns, there is not public transportation. So, if you are a low income person, like how are you getting to other thrift stores? Anyways, there's just, you have the dollar store, but it's nice to have other options. Anyways, but saying all that, we have decided to close our shop. I asked Emily, should I still come or not? But we have decided to close. Like the future is just like so uncertain for small businesses right now, especially retail. January is generally hard, but this January especially in the States, like people are just not leaving their house. If they're going to spend money, there's a lot of mutual aid. People are spending money. It's not in places like ours. So which is okay. But we did not have enough. We just started to try and figure it out. We didn't have like a ton of capital that we were working with. One of the benefits of having a small business is that you can pivot a lot easier. But then, we're a bookstore. Are we a bookstore? Are we a thrift store? We're kind of a lot of different things. So, anyways, we needed to rebrand anyways if we decide to start again to something. Refill goods implies refills. And I think I like the idea in theory, but just having it as a part of a shop, it's just so sticky and the margins are low and I don't know. Anyways, so, but we realize like as a space in a small town and the community and the connection are really important to us. So we're excited to be able to transform the space that we were in. It's now going to be taken over by the community theater, and they're going to have a stage, and it's all very exciting things there. So there may be a space there also that I can rent out and do some different things. So we've hosted some sustainability events. I would like to do a repair clinic. And I would like to do more work with sustainability in the area, but not quite sure what that avenue looks like for me. So yeah, anyways, that's I could talk all day, but that's Refill Goods.
Thanks, Annie. And for folks, I did drop their link for their website in the chat. You're going through the end of the month. Is that your
Yeah.
plan, right? So if you happen to be down and I said Plainview area, which is near Rochester, you can stop into the store. When Annie emailed me last week asking if she should still share based on their decision to close, I said, I actually think that this is a really important conversation for people to have and to hear because the reality of small businesses, many of the folks on the call today are in government. They provide grants or other supports to small businesses. And so I do think it's a really valuable thing for people to hear that sometimes it doesn't always work out as planned. Sometimes you have redirections and your business plan changes. Often your business plan needs to change for different reasons. But I do feel like it's a valuable conversation to continue having. We do have time for questions. If anyone has any questions for Annie, I'll remove the pin. You're welcome to just come off chat and ask those questions, whether it's specific to Refill Goods or her experience as a small business owner or anything. So feel free if anyone would like to ask a question.
Oh, I have a question. Did you find that most of the people that shopped in your store were local to Plainview or from a wider
That's a
geography?
great question. I think people would come for the community aspects. We got local people. For that, we had book clubs, Dungeons and Dragons, that sort of stuff was local. But the name really helped. We got people from all over. People would travel to come see, like from Iowa, from which I was still a couple hours from here, from Wisconsin, from farther over. So people would travel. So I think it is. Um, there's definite potential there for sustain, and people would travel to overseas and then come back and be like, oh, every shop over and wherever is like yours and is sustainability focused, or like I'm traveling to somewhere and I need, they're very against I need bar shampoo or something. So I think it definitely is a good area to be in. And I see that there will be a lot of growth over the years. I just, with no financial backing, I have to make a paycheck at some point in time. And I have to at least not be actively losing money. So that's where I'm transitioning right now. So
There was a question in the chat. How did you find a space to try this? So what were you, and you've
yeah,
done a
so
few
we
different
actually
spaces.
we
So
started in the back of somebody else's shop. So she had some small rooms that she was renting out. And now when I look back on it, it was like a glorified closet there. So we just started and started to work on the social media part or letting people know we were there or getting our online website set up. So we started with that. And then there wasn't really anything else available, but we ended up having a house that we could rent that we moved a couple blocks down and we're able to take that house and kind of convert it into a retail space. And then we tried that for a while. And then there was actually a storefront that was open. So I was like, oh, great. Maybe we can get our food retail license because that used to be a cafe. And food retail license, you have to have the right floors, right ceiling, right walls, the right sinks, all the things. So I got the licensor in and said, is this space, is this right? Do we have at least those? And she's like, no, you don't have any of the right stuff here. So I don't know if I just got grandfathered in back in the day, but yeah, so the food we never got into. But then when we were getting into secondhand, we knew very quickly we would need a bigger space, and then there was a space available. So we moved. It does take a lot of space. Clothes takes a lot more attention. And a lot more time. So, furniture, if you're going to say yes to furniture, that takes a lot of space. So, how do you make it pay for itself, pay for the square footage that you're putting into what you're doing? I don't know, all sorts of things I'm going to think about when I am no longer at the shop every day. So,
any other questions for Annie?
I'll put
I've
my
got
email.
one. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Shoot. Hello. Um, my question was, as you started offering some of these things, did you find that, it turned into a real nice, like a community kind of, gathering place? Because there's probably not a lot of places with that small of town for people to just, gather like a cafe, but, looking at books or
mhm.
whatever, wanting space to work on projects, that kind of thing.
100%. And I think that's the most needed thing, I would say, in small towns, at least like the town that I'm in. And so that's why I'm excited to continue to offer that through the theater. But yeah, I mean, people would come after school. There were kids that they would either go to the library or come stop with me. I have some teenagers that I was hiring, and they would come on their days off when they weren't even working. We had yeah, Dungeons and Dragons or book club. I mean, that's also it was night whenever the shop was open. It was like I had office hours and people would come in and talk to me about all sorts of things. And I think it's a great way. It was a great way to assess the needs of the community and to know what is happening. And I think spaces like that, I think, are super valuable, especially in rural communities. I mean, and I'll say we also like fly pride flags and Black Lives Matter flag. We were very loud about our values, and so many people found us and said, we never expected something like this to be in this town. There were so many people that graduated that would message me and say, hey, you're doing really good work there. Maybe if you would have been there before I graduated, maybe I wouldn't have left town immediately upon graduation. So I think I would really like to see. I think it's really important, and I'm not going to give up on the ideas, but investing in rural spaces. Again, I spent a lot of time in the cities and really loved it up there. And how do we work in these small communities to have spaces I mean, I would have loved a cafe we don't have a coffee shop that's open past 2 o'clock. If I could get a cup of coffee, I think people would really like that. So anyways, I got all sorts of ideas, but I'm out of time at the moment and resources. So I'll put my email in the chat though. So if anybody wants to follow up or has any other questions, I'd be happy to share all of the information that I've learned over the last 3.5 years. But
Yeah, I appreciate that because it's almost like what you're describing. I don't live, closer to the inner city. It's like I'm not that far away, but still, I feel like I want to have some of those cool old bookshops and stuff like
mm,
that in the suburbs and build more of a community feel than
I
everybody just driving around. And so it's just kind of a
am.
thought that I've had in my head. So I appreciate you sharing all this. I'm sure it's really difficult, but way to go. Good
I
job.
mean, hey, thank you. I my view on I think bookshop. I mean, because we did have tons of used books and new books, and I think shops like the one that I'm closing. I think there's going to be a lot of them closing. I don't know. Shops can't compete. Throw the tariffs in there. Throw Amazon and all these big billion-dollar companies. They're going to be fine. But the small businesses of people just trying to make it. I mean, there's somebody close to us that she's got that Busy Baby mats that she makes out of silicone, and they're only manufactured overseas because that's where manufacturing is. So she's like, how do I do this? Other suppliers that we worked with are like, I don't even know if I can get my stuff. I tried to order some things and I thought tariffs would be this much, and they were like 4 times the amount that I expect. Like, I don't know. I I don't know. I don't think a lot of small shops are going to survive this. Personally, I hope they do. I just think we are going to, I think they're the heart and soul of communities, and I think we need them. And I don't know how they move forward, but things will need to be different. But anyways, that's what I'm also thinking about a lot here. One of our suppliers, who said, yeah, sales were down 70% for them. Like, how much longer are they going to be making the product that they're making if sales are down, and sales are down because nobody's coming in to the small shops at this moment. So, I don't know. So yeah, I'll put again, I hope it's not as fatalistic as I'm sounding, but yeah, everybody loves a small bookstore, and people come in and talk to me for an hour and not spend any money. So,
I think we have one more question. Chooks, you had raised your hand a little while ago, and then we'll move to Megan. Did you want
I'm
to?
yeah, I'm kind of like curious about based on her experience, if she would sort of I want to say suggest or insight into population that maybe based on that experience that she thinks such a business might have a better chance, whether it's in the community or sort of in a smaller geography of regional that such might such business might thrive a little better.
Um, what businesses are going to survive? I think service-based businesses, service-based businesses are going to be fine. Everybody's going to need a plumber and HVAC and that sort of stuff. It's the extra stuff. And I don't know the answer to that right now. I think, yeah, there's just so many factors when it comes to small towns too. I mean, there's a dollar store that is in my town. There's a dollar store that's coming into the town 10 miles away. There's a dollar store in every town from here to my parents' house, a half an hour away or an hour and a half away. So like, I, and who profits from that? Not local communities. Who's those Dollar Generals? They're not, I get letters every week to sponsor, um, you know, all sorts of different things, community events and sports and theater and all sorts of things, but which I would love to support. I would love to do all those things. But again, we're expecting the people to contribute to those to be these small business owners that are like, again, I didn't get paid at all I was hoping eventually it would all work out, but we're putting that on our small business owners. Whereas these big companies or Dollar Generals or different, I don't see them donating to softball teams or to the theater, or even we're doing some rural economic development was part of that for a little bit, and the big companies around are like, no, we don't want to participate. So I don't know what the answer is, but that's what I know.
Well, thanks, Annie. We appreciate you sharing about your experience. And I know folks have questions. If you want to put your contact information in the chat, that'd be great. We'll make sure that gets in the notes as well. But thanks so much for sharing about your work.